Today I'm going to be reviewing this Otter Oasis kitchen pantry cabinet that was recently sent to me by the brand. I'm going to be going through and showing the full assembly on this, showing, so a little bit of step by step, as well as giving you like the assembly time, what it looks like when it's completed, all of those important details. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the box, show you exactly what it looks like. Now I don't normally show the box after I get it emptied out, but I just want to kind of show you what the padding looks like on this. So you can see you're going to have a large, thick piece of styrofoam on all four sides. There was also styrofoam on top, styrofoam to hold the pizza in place, and then this little film, like plasticky type stuff, almost like a mesh type thing, was in between each of the individual pieces. So you see all those individual pieces and those up there. This was in between each and every one to help keep them from getting scratched. So really impressed just to start off with in regards to how well they packed it. It's not just thrown together in a flat pack with no concern if it gets damaged or anything like that. It's got all of that extra foam, this in between everyone to help keep them from getting scratched up during shipment, when you're pulling them out of the box, that sort of thing. And you can see I've got foam all over the place as well. That was just kind of to keep it all from moving. So pretty pleased with that so far. What I found when assembling things like this that have a lot of different wooden pieces, it's easiest to just kind of put them all in numerical order. It makes it a lot easier when you're going through and assembling and grabbing everything. So I'm going to do that now. Now that I got everything kind of organized, and again, that's just a personal thing for me, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the instructions and the assembly. So it does come with a nice big instruction book, and then this is going to be where all of your parts are going to be for connecting everything up. So first step is you're going to build this drawer out. It's going to be a relatively simple process. Just these first three steps are all about building the drawer. This does not come with a screwdriver or anything like that. So if you can have a drill, that would work good. If not, a regular screwdriver would work as well. Drawer assembly is relatively easy. You are going to have to put a handle here on the front, but that's not yet. You're quite literally just going to put these here and then put 5 screws in, 1, 2 on that side, and then the one in the middle here for the under brace. Next step is going to be to build the main part of the cabinet. So you can see here, step 4, we're adding a bunch of those little anchors onto numbers 32 and 33. And then we're going to be putting shelves into those. That's going to be step 5. Step 6 is putting these backings into there. Step 7 is in connecting, so these two sides. Step 8 is another backing. And step 9 is going to be the top or the bottom, not sure which one. And then step 10 is going to be screwing that in. So we have to put the anchors in, then screw it in. And then you're going to be building the additional, it's like a shelf almost, that goes right here on top. That's step 12. Step 13, building the rest of these, going all the way through 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm just kind of showing you what the instructions look like, just in case yours happens to be missing them or something like that. I will stop at various points along the way if I have any issues with the assembly. But you can see here, this is what it's going to look like. So essentially, after you get that drawer done, you're assembling the bottom cabinet, then you're going to assemble the top cabinet, then you're going to stack them together, screw them all up, then you're going to be putting together another drawer. As you can see here, step 29, 30, 31, and 32. And then you're going to this is going to be like the fold outs that come on the top. Going to put your doors on, then you put your drawer in, and you're finished. So just as simple as that. Of course, obviously, it's going to take a while to go through that process. So let me go ahead and work all the way through this. I'll stop at any point along the way if I have any issues with the assembly, and then I'll be back with you here once I give you a total time on the assembly process. So I wanted to share a tiny issue that I ran into just with the assembly process, that I messed something up. So as you can see here, I've got these things on the top, and this is how it should be. They shouldn't be showing. So the tall part on these shelves, so from here up where there's the tall open part, that's where you are going, that's going to be the top. So you're going to want these shelves facing up. Everything else, there's no way to put it in wrong, as all the holes are going to be different, etc. But on these shelves on 15 all the way down, so 15 on these, you're actually just going to have to flip them, and they should be facing down. So this one on the bottom, where you're putting this shelf straight down, these little guys here should be facing the bottom like this, rather than facing the top like this. So just a small little assembly thing, since the 15s are identical, and it's quite literally just 4 holes on there. So I messed it up. I didn't look closely enough at the instructions. So it's something you'll keep in mind when you're going through the assembly process. All right, so as you can see, it is completely assembled. Total assembly time for one person, so just myself, was a hair over 3 hours, 3 hours and like 8 minutes to be exact, total assembly time. Now, I did need a little bit of help. I had my wife help me to set this on top. So essentially, this part here you build separately, and then you set this on top of the bottom part. So I did have her help lifting that up, and then I had her help holding up these while I screwed on the hinges. So you will need 2 people for that. But beyond that, I did everything myself, and that total time on there was 3 hours and about 10 minutes or so. One thing I did want to point out was these little magnet things are going to be adjustable. So make sure when you're screwing them in, you don't screw them in too tight, as I did on this one. So make sure they just go about to there, and then you're going to have to adjust them in or out so it makes a tight fit. You do want it to go in as far as possible, so that way it's making a nice seal across here. So you can see this is what it's going to look like. I will give you the measurements here in a second, but I just want to kind of show you what it looks like first off. So you've got these 2 that are going to fold out. So these can be used for storage, for spices, for whatever the case might be. So you've got those 2 on those sides. Those have the little bars to kind of hold things in place, keep them from falling out when you're pushing in. Then obviously you have all of that storage in here. You can store things all the way out to the edge on here. And then on the underside, you just have all of these different shelves. Again, you have a little magnetic piece, so that's going to keep your door shut. That's what this little piece here is for. And then you also have this little drawer that you can use for like silverware or, just things you don't want to be out, that sort of a deal. So let me go ahead and grab a tape measure, and I'll give you all of the exact measurements of this, including like the shelves, that sort of a deal. So depth on these shelves is going to be a little over 8, about 8¼ inches deep. And then, oh, it got stuck. And then width on this, so this actually is where you're going to be storing items at, is going to be 29 inches. Now the brand does give the width or the height of the item itself, but I want to give you that. So that's going to be that same width and same everything. So 29 across. Depth is going to be 8¼ That's going to be the same on all of these. The only thing that's going to vary a little bit is the height. So you have a little under 10 inches there, and then same thing there, a little under 10 inches, and then again a little under 10 inches. So those are all going to be absolutely symmetrical. Now let me go ahead and measure the side here. Total width on this is going to be about 13¾ Your depth on this is going to be about 5¾ inches. And then height on this is going to be about 7¼ or so. And that should be the same on all these, it looks like. Yep, 7¼ And then this one here is just going to go right up to the top. So again, about that same 7¼ And you're going to have the same exact size on that side. I'm going to give you the drawer width here, or the depth. So let's go to the depth first. You're going to be about 12 inches or so deep. Width, again, this is actual storage width, 27 inches. That's from the inside here to inside here. And then the height on this is going to be a pretty shallow drawer. It's only going to be a hair over 3 inches on the drawer itself. Let me go ahead and measure all of these down here. So we're going depth on this is 13¾ Full width on this one down here is 29 inches. So that same 29 inches there. And then the height on this one is going to be about 9�5" or so. This one's going to be a little bit shorter, so 7¼ And then this one's going to be bigger at about 11½ or so. So that's going to be your interior dimensions on all of those drawers and all of the doors and everywhere where you're going to be storing things at. So overall, definitely a really nice looking kitchen pantry cabinet. Truthfully, I love the style that's going to be on it. Now it does come with like the mounting hardware for you to mount it to the wall, and that is going to probably be necessary. It is going to be pretty wobbly. Like you can kind of see how it's going to move here. So it does have a good amount of wobble to it. Now, obviously, if you're storing stuff inside of it, whether it's canned goods or those sorts of things, you put those at the bottom, it's going to keep it from tilting. But if you're putting anything that's light in there, you will, if you have it like in a corner of your kitchen, so it's like hitting a wall on the back and on one of the sides, that would be a good option in my opinion. But even if you're putting like something heavy in it, just put the heavy stuff at the bottom. That should work. And then attach that anchor up through a stud and you should be good to go. But overall, definitely a really, really nice looking item. I love the little accent pieces that are going to be across. The little handles on both of those give that like the black at the top and then the black on that middle shelf and then the white at the bottom. It really just adds a lot of accent to it. So overall, definitely a really nice kitchen pantry cabinet. One last thing I did want to mention here is that when you open up the doors, it has to be a ways away from anything because of the way the top doors swing. The bottom doors are fine, but because it swings out like several inches, you are going to have to be, even if you just want it to swing out, you are going to be several inches away from anything. So, I was talking about putting it into the corner of a wall. That's really not going to work, as even if you were trying to get it straight, you still have this depth. So this depth right here is how far at minimum you're going to have to be away from something, because it's going to have to be at minimum like that. So we were going to put it up here right next to the microwave, but in this case, we're going to have to kind of scoot it over to mount it. So that is something you will want to keep in mind when you are trying to decide where to put your pantry cabinet.